Well, welcome back to the garage today. Well, let's see if we can replace the slave cylinder. Should be fun. Let's get into it. So I actually realized after the fact that even though I said we're going to swap out the slave cylinder, I don't even know if that's exactly what we need to do. So we're going to put some fluid in this thing, pump it up and see where the leak is. I would assume that it would be the slave cylinder because this did happen when it was below 0 out and I tried starting it. I should say I pushed in the clutch. I didn't even try starting it that day. So I'm assuming since those things are made of plastic, that's probably where the issue is. So I'm going to push on that pedal for a little bit, see if we can get a leak again, and then kind of see what's going on. Well, we got fluid on the ground, which normally isn't really what you want to see, but in my case it is. And I have a weird heat shield there because of this exhaust. As you can tell, that is the slave cylinder, I think, that's leaking. Out from under that boot, so I'm assuming the seals inside of that thing have went kaput. So, one next thing that I have to do is remove that heat shield because somebody routed this stupid exhaust like this. I honestly don't like it. I don't hate the exhaust itself. I wished it was high and tight like that side was, but I understand with this drive shaft you can't really do that as well. But regardless, let's go ahead and, hey, there's a thing unplugged. Regardless, let's go ahead and let's get the heat shield off and start getting this thing removed. Slight break from this. Of course, you know you always get your new Rock Auto magnets whenever you buy parts for them. I bought this thing months ago. If anybody remembers, I was going to replace the slave cylinder before I put the engine in. Decided the old one works, let's not worry about that. That was smart of me. But I think I've made a goal for this truck. That is, get it on one of these magnets. I don't know how plausible that even is, or even realistic that might be. Everything you see on these is cars. At least in my little magnet collection, that's all I've got are cars. But looking into it, basically, you just take a picture of your vehicle and submit it to them. Obviously, they probably don't want a rusty shitbox, but someday maybe it won't be that. It's a long ways away before that goal will ever be accomplished, but it's always good to work towards something. Let's get back to this anyways. So a couple little things I kind of want people to remember is, even though it doesn't seem it, these trucks are getting old. So everything I'm doing might not be as cut and dry for your situation because, well, it depends what the previous owner did. Such as this heat shield, I'd be willing to bet 99% of the trucks don't have something like this on there. But I'm the lucky 1%. Now, something else I'll say with that is, if you got a weird little snag like this or something, no reason to get all pissed off. I'm pretty sure that whole bolt's turning. Let's work through the dang problem. It'll all work out. Enjoy the process, because getting flustered is just gonna screw stuff up in the long run. Nobody's gonna ever tell you this is enjoyable, but you might as well make it as painless as possible. And why would you want to raise your blood pressure? That's just gonna shorten your lifespan. And then you'll spend more time doing things you don't enjoy than what you enjoy. Now, I'm not gonna say mine won't get raised today, but a cursing and a tossing anything. I'm not going to say violence has never solved anything, trust me. I was a mechanic in a shop for years. Violence does sometimes fix things. But in instances like this, I don't think it will. Until it comes to using a hammer to get that roll pin out on that slave cylinder. Well, then violence might be needed. That's because you're swinging a hammer. Now, hopefully, this thing will come loose. I'm a little doubtful. Maybe we'll end up cutting it. I don't know. That's just my little unneeded tip of the day, I guess. So one thing that you guys might notice is, I've got snap-on tools and stuff like that, but you don't need this stuff. I mean, if you're working in a shop every day, yeah, it's really nice to have, because then you got your warranty, your stuff, and your truck, the tool truck comes and visits you. But in all reality, if you're just a guy in your driveway doing this, buy that junk from Harbor Freight. It'll work just fine for you. And this is coming from somebody who's not a big Harbor Freight fan, but their tools have improved. And a set of wrenches is a set of wrenches. And I can tell you, I used to be real hard on my tools knowing I had that lifetime warranty. And Harbor Freight has that too. But their tools work just fine. Also, if you're going to go ahead and do this underneath a vehicle, it's all rusty, put some damn safety glasses on. I don't have any. I always have my sunglasses on my head, so that's what I'm using. Did it come off, or did that thing just move? I got a swivel selected on top of there, and I don't feel the nut, so it must have came out. Talking while doing this isn't fun either, because I'm just eating stuff. But if you got a weird plate, get it out of the way. I don't know if that'll go back, because in my opinion, this exhaust pipe's no closer than it would have been. Oh man, took that off immediately, got stuff in my eyes. In my opinion, that's no closer to the exhaust than a factory exhaust really would have been. So I don't know if I'm going to put that back on or not, but we'll see how things go. So let's get to the slave cylinder. Alrighty guys, so removing the slave cylinder itself actually isn't really too bad. And I just got a big screwdriver. It'd be kind of cool if this thing was a two-wheel driver, but I'm happy it's not. Just get your screwdriver up in here and pry that baby out. Like I said, if there wasn't a shaft in my way, this would be a heck of a lot easier, but I wanted a 4x4. I didn't want a two-wheel drive. I live in the Midwest. And once you get it to a certain point, you ought to just wiggle on out. And then, move it the rest of the way, you got a little tiny roll pin right here. Now I got a drain pan set up, but you guys can't see it. I don't even know if you can even see this thing right now. Let me adjust it. Alright, now sorry if the lighting isn't the greatest and the wind is kind of bad, but to move this thing the rest of the way, there's just a little roll pin right here. We'll just knock that puppy out. And this dang exhaust, man. It's gonna drive me bonkers. Right after I said, don't let your blood pressure get up. But basically, find a good little spot to put this thing on and put your punch in there. And hopefully the Midwest doesn't hurt me right now. Yep. It's a-coming. Feels almost like the roll pin's touching something back there. Yep, it's touching the frame. I'll just move a little bit more and keep on tapping. She'll pop right out. Now you guys can't tell, but I've got a pan right here just because I don't know if anything's going to come out or not. But if it does, I'd rather catch it than not. And this thing just isn't quite out all the way. There we go. And, yep. Here comes some. There's a bunch of rust in there. So I might just do for now, put that puppy right back on there. Get my roll pin and just, well, I'm going to find it first again, as it fell. And just gently put it back in there so I don't sit here and just waste brake fluid. Because, well, that stuff costs money. I just got to find my roll pin. Or, what you could do if you can't find a roll pin, put your punch in there. It won't go anywhere now. So now you got time to get your other one bled. Once you know everything's good here, you can get your other one bench bled. And you don't really have to hurry, but you're kind of in a little bit of hurry when you get it put back up in there. Now, if you lose your roll pin like I just did, it's okay. They come with new ones. So definitely don't be afraid to use the new one. Actually, use the new one, no matter what. Alright, let's get the... Now that I'm going to bleed this, or I shouldn't say bleed, well, kind of bench bleed it. It's really not that difficult of a process per se. Honestly, just take your bleeder out. I got a Gatorade bottle. You know, those are the best because that has electrolytes, and that's what plants crave. I'm just gonna take this thing off real quick. Maybe I'm not gonna take this thing off real quick. But basically, I just loosen my bleeder. Get this thing down in there. I need to cut my bottle a little bit shorter. One little bit of an important thing to do about this though too is make sure that whatever bottle you use didn't have water in it before or anything of the sort. I mainly say that because brake fluid will grab on to water. You don't really want that in your system. I went ahead and I dumped this thing out, brake cleaned it out, let it sit for a few minutes, and it's after I wiped it out. Like I said, I use brake clean just because that stuff will evaporate pretty quickly, and theoretically would help get rid of the moisture that's in here with this. So yeah, now you just pump away till you get rid of all the bubbles. Shouldn't take too awful long. I mean, if you want to, you can work the top of it first, and kind of in the middle, and all the way down to the bottom. Personally, I just like to just go all the way. Just be done with it. See, you guys really can't see the bubbles very well, but yeah, just go till you don't have bubbles anymore, basically. It'll suck up some of what's in there, so you want to have more in there than you think that you need. But it's not too crazy of a process. Well, you do want to make sure everything stays below, because if it's not, you're just going to suck air into your system, and then you'll be basically starting all over. Not really seeing any bubbles anymore. So I think I want to do... I see you might get a little bit of air in there right now. It's not the end of the world. You got to bleed the thing anyways. But if this saves you a large amount of time, I think it's worth it. Bring it on out. Put your plug back on. We're ready to go back under the truck now. So let's get under there. Put this new one in. Now, one thing that I feel like I have not seen one person mention on any video, and I don't understand why, is the O-ring. My O-ring stayed inside here, that's why you don't see it. But slide that baby right on there. Then take my plug out of my new one, and we'll go ahead and just slide it right on in there. Now yet again I gotta tap that in, and then we should be good to reinstall. I've already taken mine and I started the O-ring ever so slightly, just so I can have a little bit of a free hand. I mean, it ain't really able to hold stuff the best, but at least I'm not trying to hold, a tiny O-ring while trying to hold this, the old rub your head while you pat your belly. Just tap her until she's flush. And this thing can rotate on that hose. That's okay. You don't got to be dead nuts perfect. So now that thing's on, we'll slide her back into place. I might not show you guys that. It's going to be the same as when I took it off, just in reverse, where you just slide her on. So let's get to that. Well, it's back up in there. In order to release the plastic piece, this guy, I just shove on that, undo it. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is put that thing on once you're done bleeding, while it's still in the hydraulic or the brake fluid. You can go ahead and fight this thing out if you want. I'm probably just going to snip both sides, call it a day. So yeah, now let's go ahead and try to bleed. If that's something I'm going to try, I've never done it before, but I've heard it's the way to go on this. Like I said though, when you install this thing, slide it over to you, hear an audible click. That means you know that she's in where it needs to be. Let's go back up top. So what I have to do all this is the vacuum pump, which from everything I've been told, these trucks are an absolute bugger when it comes to trying to get these systems, get all the air out of the system. And I've been heard it can take you hours, and these will save you a lot of time. I don't think this thing was any more than 20, 30 bucks. Even if it's 40 and it saves you that much time, I think it's 100% worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try this. I have never used this before. Only thing on the end I have is this guy, so it'll just jam down in that hole. I'll suck it up to, I don't know, 5, 10, something like that. I don't really remember where you're supposed to go up to with it. And then when I pull it out, it ought to suck everything down in. So I'm going to try to get you guys set up to where hopefully you can see that, and we'll go ahead and try it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do this. You just go down until you find the hole, and I think that's it. Maybe not. Yeah, right there. All I'm doing is sucking up fluid, which is what I don't want to do. So sadly, the vac didn't work for me. I reached my finger down there after I vacked everything out, and I could feel there's a circle, but then mine just has a slot in it, which means the end I was hoping to work wouldn't work. Tried another end, and I'd looked through else what I had. Nothing else really seemed viable. So basically, I'm probably most of the way through bleeding it now. This one's actually been pretty simple. Just, you know, I do this all by myself because I just normally don't have anybody around to help. Pump it up. We're getting pretty close here still. I like to pump them up pretty good. Then double check you got plenty of fluid. Yeah, we're getting pretty close. Now, since I always do things alone, take a stick. This is some kind of a handle that my wife had on something that she bought. It's normally a lot easier with two hands. Get it jammed to where that pedal's all the way down. Now, sadly down in here I'm making more of a mess than I'd like, but that's part of it. So I have my Allen wrench up on there still. I've just been leaving it on. And you open it, and it came off. So that's not what you wanted. I'm leaving it on there so I don't have to try to sit here and feel around like I have to do right now. There we go. So now whenever I pull this thing out, it's gonna spray. There's a lot of air coming out still, but that's a good thing. So now, repeat that process again and again until I got a good clutch pedal. Like I said, I was hoping that vac would work. Somebody smarter than me probably knows a way you can take that thing out, hook the vac up down here, suck everything through. I'm not that guy, so I'm gonna keep doing this. We'll get back together when it's all done. Alrighty, let's see if the clutch works. Let's first see if this window goes down. And then we're gonna see if this thing wants to awaken from its slumber. I mean, can't tell I'm a guy who likes a good nap, and this thing's been napping for a while, so. Neutralis. Why is it angry? I'm confused. Okay. It's a nice belt squeal. I don't know, I guess the belt's just gonna squeal. Let's see if we got a clutch. got clutch, we got brake, we got gears. We'll get back with you in a second. So that's going to wrap it up on this one on the 84 F250 today. Hopefully this video can help out somebody who's trying to do this, or at least maybe enjoy a little bit of something. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this one. Subscribe if you'd like. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.